What's up, YouTube? So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about Will Campbell, offensive lineman from LSU. He's 6'6", 223 pounds, plays left tackle. People are ranking him as like a top-tier prospect. Like some people like even have him within the top 10, which is a little crazy to me. Plays very high, which I mean part of that is just being 6'6", but he really has no knee bend really at all. He catches his opponent rather than striking and being first. He also leans a lot, which I'm not a fan of. If you're not familiar with with my takes on offensive linemen, I'm not a fan of leaning, because if you're going to be 323 pounds and you're leaning forward, it doesn't take much of a cloth pull to make you end up on your face or out of position. It's just not great. But the reason he leans is because his knee bend is bad, and which means his leverage is bad. So he's having to lean to get lower. And like I said, he's 6'6". He does have a decent hand fight. He does try to get his hands inside, but I want him to be first. Like, he's letting the opponent attack him first, and he's trying to regroup. You know, he's 6'6". He's got the length. I'd like him to be first. And he does show flashes of it, of striking first, and it looks good when he does it. Sometimes he tries to strike with one hand, and that one hand will just kind of get slapped away. I don't really love that. Joe Thomas used to do that, and, you know, he was very good at it. But unless you're Joe Thomas, and he is not, probably don't do that. But like I said, he does look to get his hands inside, and usually he ends up fighting his hands. He usually fights his way to get his hands inside, but I just want him to attack first. Feet are okay. Nothing crazy, nothing bad, nothing great. Not super powerful, despite being a bigger offensive lineman. And also, I realize, like, the 6'6", 223, that's just what ESPN is saying. Once we get, like, the combine and stuff, we'll get more official measurements, of course. I do think he should stay at tackle, but I honestly see him more as, like, a late first, or, like, more likely a second-round talent. He'll probably go earlier than that just because he's a tackle. And I'm not saying he's a bad player by any means. I think he does have some interesting traits. But where people are putting him, I think, is a little high. He also misses with his hands a little bit. And also, one thing I noticed, too, is he's kind of inconsistent game to game on his technique and just overall playing ability, which isn't great. It's very sometimesy, and I'm not really a fan of that. And also, don't really expect him to move people, which is why I don't want him to play guard. Because some people have the misconception that guards are just bad tackles. That's not the case. I mean, if you're a guard, you're going to end up against 330-pound defensive tackles more often. I'd rather him deal with edge rushers because he's not that strong in comparison to other linemen. So I do want him to stay at tackle. I think he can be a decent player, but I just think he's kind of being overhyped a little bit. But, yeah, hopefully he can work on his hands, and hopefully he can get some knee bend in him. If he does that, he should be fine. And I think the hands are, like, part way there because he does it sometimes. He just needs to do it more consistently, like strike first and be first, get your hands inside. And like I said, if he can work on the knee bend, that's definitely something that will help him a lot. And I think that will kind of eliminate the leaning a little bit too. But, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, I appreciate hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.